Welcome to Grand Prix, your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One. We've got 3 hot stories for you, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay ahead of the pack. Let's get started. We're officially entering race week for the Japanese Grand Prix, and excitement is building as the action returns to the iconic Suzuka circuit. But as is tradition, fans around the world will need to adjust their sleep schedules because the sessions will once again take place during the early hours of the morning in most time zones. So get your coffee ready. Late-night Formula One is back. This race promises to bring plenty of updates, particularly in terms of car development. After the first 3 races of the season, teams finally had a short break, time that they used wisely to dive deep into the data collected so far. With those insights in hand, many are arriving in Japan with new components and refined setups, hoping to gain a competitive edge as the championship begins to take shape. Before we get into the technical updates for this weekend, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any key moments from this event-packed week. And of course, if you appreciate these clear and concise updates, leave a like. It really helps support our work here at GPM Casa Plus. Now, let's talk about one of the teams generating a lot of buzz this week, Ferrari. Their season has been a roller coaster so far, showing flashes of strong pace, but also grappling with inconsistency and setup issues. The car, the SF25, has proven difficult to manage in certain conditions, highlighting the need for deeper refinement and a better understanding of its behavior across varying scenarios. The good news for Ferrari fans is that the team has now updated its simulator with the latest data gathered from the first 3 races, particularly from Australia and China. Until now, their simulator was relying heavily on limited pre-season data from the Bahrain test, which, while useful, didn't reflect the broader range of conditions encountered during real race weekends. This lack of varied data made it difficult for engineers to fine-tune the car and anticipate certain performance challenges. That gap between simulation and reality caused headaches in both Australia and China. The issue was compounded by the fact that the 2024 car underwent significant design changes compared to last year. Ferrari's engineers aim to expand the SF25's operational window, allowing it to perform well across a wider range of track conditions. However, due to time constraints during pre-season testing, they couldn't push the car to its limits or gather the kind of extreme data that would be most valuable in race simulations. Now, with a more complete dataset, especially insights gathered from Lewis Hamilton's strong performance during the Chinese sprint race, Ferrari has been able to enhance simulator correlation and reduce the margin of error in their setup calculations. That includes optimizing variables such as ride height, fuel loads, and aerodynamic balance. With these improvements, the team hopes to eliminate some of the surprises that have held them back so far. All of this means we should see concrete improvements in Japan. The Ferrari camp is expected to arrive at Suzuka with a more dialed-in car, better prepared to handle the circuit's unique demands. They've even announced new parts, including a modified rear wing, which will be tested during the first free practice session. The team is placing particular emphasis on Sector 1, the flowing, high-speed section of the track, which they believe has been a weak point in their current package. The ultimate goal? Deliver a step forward in performance, not just in qualifying, but throughout the race. With a better simulator-to-reality correlation and upgraded components, Ferrari aims to be more competitive from the start of the weekend. Now we turn it over to you. Do you think Ferrari's upgrades and simulator enhancements will finally bring consistency and pace to the SF25? Or are you still skeptical about whether the team can iron out its issues and mount a serious challenge? Let us know in the comments below, and get ready, because the Japanese Grand Prix is shaping up to be a crucial chapter in this year's Formula One season. Hey everyone, good morning. This Tuesday started off with a splash in the Formula One world as both Red Bull and Stake F1 team, formerly Sauber, unveiled special liveries for the upcoming Japanese Grand Prix. And yes, there's a chance that one of these reveals is nothing more than an April Fool's prank. So let's break down all the details. Before we dive into the liveries, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss a thing this week. It's going to be full of surprises, and if you enjoy this quick and straight-to-the-point update, hit that like button to support our work. Let's start with Red Bull Racing, which revealed a striking tribute to its Japanese engine supplier, Honda. For the Japanese GP, the team is bringing back its highly requested white livery, a nod to Honda's rich motorsport legacy. This special design is inspired by the Honda RA272, the car that brought Honda its first ever Formula One victory back in 1965. That original car was painted in white with a red circle representing the Japanese flag, proudly placed at the front. In honor of that historical moment, Red Bull's usual navy blue, yellow, and red color scheme has been set aside for a cleaner look, combining white, red, and black in a sleek, minimalist fashion. While this design is a bit more subdued than the all-white livery they ran at the Turkish Grand Prix a few years ago, it still delivers a powerful visual punch and is expected to look stunning on the Suzuka circuit. What makes this even more special is the fact that Yuki Tsunoda, Japan's own F1 talent, will be driving this car alongside Max Verstappen in his home race. That alone adds an emotional weight to this tribute, and fans will be eager to see if Tsunoda and Verstappen can deliver a strong performance to match the car's aesthetics. Now, let's switch gears and talk about the second reveal of the day, this one by the team currently branded as Steak, which has often been the butt of online jokes due to its name's association with, well, actual steak. In a move that feels almost too absurd to be real, Steak F1 released a video showcasing a completely meat-themed livery. Yes, you read that right. The car is painted to resemble a raw piece of meat. The entire bodywork mimics the marbling and texture of a high-end beef cut, possibly referencing Wagyu, Japan's world-famous and highly prized beef. The video featuring this unusual livery was posted by the team associated with Brazilian driver Gabriel Bortolito, and it quickly went viral for obvious reasons. Fans are already speculating whether this bizarre paint job is an elaborate April Fool's joke or an actual race livery that will hit the track in Suzuka. It wouldn't be the first time an F1 team embraced humor or played with internet culture, but if Steak truly intends to run this meat-inspired livery during the race, it would certainly be one of the boldest and most bizarre designs in recent memory. Whether it's a joke or not, they've succeeded in grabbing everyone's attention. So what do you think? Did Red Bull nail it with their elegant Honda tribute? And is Steak's raw meat design a clever troll or a fashion disaster on wheels? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Whether you're here for the nostalgia, the memes, or just the love of Formula One, there's no denying that this year's Japanese Grand Prix is shaping up to be unforgettable, on and off the track. Of course, one of the biggest talking points, yet again, is the Red Bull Racing team and its star driver Max Verstappen. After several dominant seasons where Red Bull built near-perfect machines and Verstappen reigned supreme, things have started to shift. In recent months, the once invincible Red Bull no longer seems to be the most powerful car on the grid. This change in status has raised serious questions about the team's trajectory, and most notably, about Verstappen's future with them. Several reports suggest that if Red Bull fails to deliver a championship-worthy car, Verstappen might begin to explore opportunities elsewhere. And the frontrunners? Aston Martin and Mercedes, both of which are said to be monitoring the situation closely. In the past few weeks, multiple Red Bull figures have spoken publicly about the growing speculation. Among them, Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko revealed that Verstappen's contract contains specific clauses that could allow him to exit the team under certain conditions. Now, the conversation has taken another turn, with Verstappen's manager, Raymond Vermeulen, weighing in, and his comments were anything but reassuring for Red Bull fans. According to Vermeulen, the information he has from both Verstappen and the Red Bull technical camp indicates that the RB20 may have reached its development ceiling. In other words, any further performance gains may be marginal at best. Going forward, Verstappen will have to rely heavily on his own talent to make up the difference if he wants to keep winning races or mount a legitimate title defense. This statement aligns with what Red Bull engineers have been saying behind the scenes. The car is performing at a very high level, but it has reached its natural limit. Rather than pushing for major performance upgrades, the team's current focus is on making the car easier to drive, with the belief that Verstappen's incredible driving ability will be enough to compensate and maintain competitiveness. But what if it's not enough? Vermeulen himself hinted that this season could be one of the most dramatic yet, both on and off the track. While Red Bull might not dominate races with the 10 to 20 second leads we saw in previous years, Verstappen is expected to embrace the challenge. According to his manager, the Dutch driver actually enjoys battling for position and getting the most out of the car, even if that's not something he'd ever admit openly. Outwardly, Verstappen remains laser-focused on winning, never shying away from expressing that his main goal is to cross the finish line first. But deep down, he may be finding a new thrill in the intense wheel-to-wheel fights that come with a tighter grid. However, with performance no longer guaranteed, the question arises, how long will Verstappen stick around if Red Bull can't provide a top-tier car? Insider sources have already hinted that Aston Martin is preparing a new proposal in a bid to lure Verstappen for the 2025 season. And if Red Bull doesn't manage to elevate its performance in the next few races, those proposals might become harder to ignore. So now it's your turn. Do you think the risk of losing Verstappen is increasing with each race? Or will Red Bull manage to turn things around and give Max enough reasons to stay loyal to the team? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. One thing is certain, the future of Max Verstappen is no longer set in stone, and what happens next could shake up the entire F1 grid.